depending on the thickness of this tube. If this tube is thin, then you see the shape of the hand. If the tube is thick, then you don't see the hand at all. Then I gave the example of cover and concealment. Right? This is the soldier. He's in between the woods. He's hiding. You can still see him though, right? Stick man. So that means that sometimes the noon is going to be, when we make idgham, somewhat, you're still going to halfway see it. And then sometimes when the soldier's behind the thing, he has concealed, he's totally covered, not concealed, where you can't hit him and the bullets fly away, ping, go off of him. Right? So likewise, after understanding this example, let me go under here. We said, fi yarmaluna. Yarmaluna here is the ya, the ra, the mim, the lam, the wow, and the noon. في ستة أتت في يرملون عندهم قد ثبتت. In these 6 letters, it is strong and well established with the people of Adab, the people who recite. Okay? The people who do the performance of the recitation of Quran as their business. Not that they get paid necessarily, but that's what they be about. They say Yarmaluna. Huh? No, I need some. But here I said Yarmaluna is of 2 types, because I need to erase this thing right here. Yeah, to wipe the board off. I said Yarmaluna is, idgham is of 2 types. Astaghfirullahil azim. Idgham is how many types? 2 types. So you have idgham with gunna. This is with gunna. And you have idgham without gunna. Okay? Thank you. So idgham with gunna and idgham without gunna. Okay? Now what is gunna? Because gunna there's 4 types of gunna, but this is a beginning class. We're not going to talk about the different types of gunna and all of that, because really, at this stage, you wouldn't be able to perfect it. Wallahu a'lam. I'm not saying that you're not expert and you can't get it down like that. But for the most part, at this stage, the teachers don't teach you all the different types of the 4 types of gunna at this stage. What we teach you is what is gunna. Get the basic of what is gunna. Through practice, you'll realize it, and then you'll start thinking, oh, it is departmentalized. Right, like you just said, gunna is holding, like when you go like that, that's gunna. That nasalic sound, when you pull that air and it stops because you're holding it in your nose, that is the concept of gunna. Okay? Now, idgham without gunna is in 2 letters, lam and ra, lir. Idgham with gunna is yanmu. If you learned your alphabet in master letters, it's always in that gang, yanmu. They'll make idgham before the noon, right? So here we have idgham with gunna is here, yanmu, in these 4 letters. The ya, the noon, the mim, and the wow. And here is where I made, yes, last week when we went over this, when we said ya and wow, we said it correct. Okay? But when we went over the noon and the meme, I said you have to split your lip, right? And when you're making that idgham, I'm going back to my examples. Excuse me. Idgham بستة أتت في يرمل لكنه قسمان ينمو. Okay. I said أن يضرب. أن يضرب. With this one, we said أن يضرب. Right here. I'm not talking to myself. Say أن يضرب. أن يضرب. Then we say here, on the second one, we said, man nasha, man. So here, you see this noon here, and this noon here, these 2. This noon has entered on this noon. Dakhala shay fi shay. So this is idgham, until they became more than 1 noon in sound, but the sound is stretched out 3. So since they've become, like you don't say man, you say man and you hold it. So you have gunna in it, but you don't wait. You go man nasha. That's where we go right there. And then when we did the wow, min waq, we said min waq. Okay? Say min waq. You get ready to say the noon. Say min. Now you get ready to pronounce the noon. But right when you get to that part where it goes you don't say that. You go to the makhraj of wow. So you say man waq. Oh, I'm sorry, min. Min waq. Right, so say min waq. Say min waq. This is incorrect. Now you say min waq. Instead of putting that noon in there, right? Clearly, you jump to the makhraj of the wow. Min waq. That's where we go. Then the next one, where I said min malin, we said min, say min, malin. Here is where I made the mistake last week when I said min, and I said make your lips across. You make your lips slightly open. Min, that's incorrect. That was for iqlab. Like I said, I don't know what I was thinking. MashaAllah. Astaghfirullah al-azim. What's correct is that this meme, and it's easy, this meme is considered to be complete idgham, just like the lam wal ra that we'll go over this week. Okay? You go completely to the meme. You say mim, close it. Mim ma, mim malin. You go straight to the meme. Mim malin. The noon is not pronounced. So then why do we call it idgham with gunna and without? Because there's still gunna there. That's why it's not in the category with the lam and the ra. Because there's still gunna. So it's still not complete. It's complete. It's complete idgham. But it's still idgham with gunna. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas the lam wa ra is complete idgham bighayri gunna, without any gunna. Okay? And I should have made note to that. But now I want to make it clear. So the meme and the noon, they're complete idgham. Because these categories of this is sometimes called incomplete, this is called complete idgham and it's called incomplete idgham. But that terminology is not necessarily the best one to have, because here you have complete idgham with the noon and the meme. What do you mean by complete idgham? Meaning the sound of the noon is completely eaten into the next letter. It is completely entered onto the next letter. So that it shows no more. It doesn't make a difference if that same letter is noon. The noon that we're working with is the second one. You understand? When we say, where's the word? Man nasha, we're working on this second noon with the shadda. We're done with this one. Because it entered upon that, right? No. We made idgham. So we're going, man, we're here. You see that shadda? No. That's what's making us stay there for the 2 count. Man nasha. That's what we're doing here. So this is complete idgham. Here, when we say mim mal, we don't even hear the noon. It's completely eaten into the next letter. We say mim. So don't make that was a mistake. Don't make it open. Like I said, mim, that's like ba'an. That's when we do that. You know, but here you make complete idgham, but meaning you make complete idgham, you completely go to the next letter and close your lips completely. That's a practical application. Does that make clear? Okay, let's move right along. Today's lesson is on lam and ra, which is, again, idgham bighayri gunna. Idgham without gunna, okay? Now, I did this quick review because, you know, people, this should become second letter. Second, what do you call it? Nature. You know, not that you shouldn't run into some questions here and there, but it's not that difficult. You know, it's not that difficult. It's really stair-stepped. You should be more than just familiar with these types of things. And again, I say again and again and again, no, you should not be going to become an expert in tajweed by watching a video. You're going to have to sit before somebody. But at least when you go sit before somebody, you will have the tools, the necessary tools that you need to benefit from that person in the best way you can, in the most effective and efficient way that you can. And he will be pleased by what you have and be able to take that in a shorter period of time and give you something that you're pleased with. You reach your objective. You know, inshallah, wallahu a'lam. You know, but that's the objective. Now you guys, it's different because you're here. You know? So we can do this a little bit different. But I'm talking about people who watch in internet land and all that other stuff.